experience this week. So my wife actually went in for emergency surgery 2 days ago.
Oh.
And it was kind of a...
Is she okay?
It was, yeah, she's okay now.
Okay.
And, I'm really grateful for modern healthcare. And, the last 50 years, we've had more advances in healthcare than, the history of mankind over thousands of years. And, on Wednesday, my wife went from, we thought we were going to hear, all right, I think I was going to get emotional.
It's okay. You're okay.
All right, but anyways, we went from going to the doctors thinking we're going to hear a heartbeat for our baby, and then to this is the first time I've cried about this, actually. To finding out we're going to lose a baby to emergency surgery because she had internal bleeding, and all within one day. And because of that, everything is healthy now, and she's just recovering. And I'm so grateful for the professionals in that industry, and they really have honed their craft. I mean, I was so impressed with every step of the process, from how they were dealing with us on the bedside manner to just really knowing what to do to fix the problem. So I'm so grateful for that.
Well,
thanks for sharing.
And thank you for the vulnerability. Not very many people can do that. So
we're grateful she's okay.
Yes. And tell her.
Yes.
Tell her. Hope she starts feeling better quick. Any other gratitudes or victories? Miss Ruby.
I am grateful for our environment. I'm grateful that we have a place that we can be vulnerable and learn and have connections like we do.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly really does drive the emotional part of life. And if this doesn't feel like a great place to work, I don't think any other place can be ever like this. Like coming to work, it doesn't feel like work. Does this feel like we're at work right now? No, it feels like a family, and it feels like a place to grow. And I love it every day.
I agree.
I'm excited to be walking to the door at 7 a.m. and knowing that people are coming in to make their lives better. And I'm glad I get to be a part of it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, well, one of the things that I would love to talk with you guys about, and I agree with you, Ruby. Just yesterday I had an experience that I had to deal with a builder who was a buyer, right? And it's just interesting to me how many people don't understand the market. And I'm just grateful for our environment and understanding the market statistics, understanding that these are all valuable things that we need to know to be able to develop our skill sets and to be able to be who we need to be for our clients, right? It was just fun for me to have that conversation with the builder and basically tell him he was up in the night. You can't build a house for what you would if you were building from the ground up, right? And it's just fun for me to be able to stand in my ground and stand in the power that we have because of the environment and because of the things that we learn here. Yeah. And I'm grateful for that as well. Yeah. I'm grateful for the experiences that we have within the company. I also had another conversation with an agent yesterday. And it was a friend that I hold dear to my heart. And one of the things that I would say, she's with another company, and it was understanding our whys and understanding our goals and actually having that connection, but then also having a schedule in place to make sure that you can maintain it, right? To make sure that you have what we often refer to as, Brenda will say, that three-legged stool, right? Of that balance in life. And so today, one of the things, and it keeps coming up with agents that I'm meeting with my coaching clients, things like that, is running an efficient schedule. How many of you actually feel like you run an efficient schedule? Okay.
We can get better.
Yeah, well, we always can get better, right?
Always.
And recently, if you guys haven't listened to the book, have any of you guys listened to the book Fanatical Prospecting? Okay. It's a reread. I'm listening to it again for, I don't know how many times I've listened to it. And poor Kenzie, she's had to sit there and listen to me every morning. I'm like, and this, and this, and this, because he's just got this energy and these stories that radiate and obviously hit home a lot with me. And one of the things that he's really been talking about lately is really just making sure as salespeople, you guys, I hate to break it to you, and if you don't want to be referred to that, it's unfortunate because you are in the sales industry. Whether you want to believe it or not, you are a salesperson, right? And whether we want to believe it or not, our whole goal, yes, is the leadership, the quality, and making sure that we are being that person, but we're salespeople. And really what it is we're selling homes. And if you don't want to refer to yourself as a salesperson, I get that, but you are one. And so one of the things that I love that he talked to, and he shared it with multiple industries in the book, was really just making sure that you're protecting your schedule. And he says the top people in the sales industries, in any sales industry, protect their schedule, right? And they protect the things that are non-negotiable items. And one of the things that really stuck out to me this last time I was listening to him was really making sure that you're protecting that hour, that power. We've heard it called the power hour, right? Tony Robbins will refer to it as the power hour, that hour of income producing activities. And he says the top sales people in any industry will protect that 1 hour of prospecting a day. Okay, 1 hour of prospecting. And when he said this to me, I'm like, interesting. Of new business. Not your lead follow-up, not your pipeline, right? And one of the things that he referred to is he went into this tech industry, and he had this top tech company that he was working with. And he, the sales manager had called him in, and the sales manager said, I don't understand why my people aren't hitting their numbers anymore. Why they're not actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. We had this great pipeline, we had this great peak, and then all of a sudden we have this huge dip. And he's like, well, what they did, and believe it or not, they prospected for an hour a day as a team for a whole month, right? So then they had this big swoop, and then they have this big drop because they stopped doing it, right? And so just making sure that you're actually going after new lead generation, right? New lead generation. And I often talk to this with my team. I often talk to it with my coaching clients. Is one of the things that you'll often see is people will get in the habit, especially if our main focus is on buyers, right? We'll get in this habit of calling our immediate follow-up and consider it prospecting. No, you guys, it's follow-up. There's a whole different section of your day that should be dedicated to that, okay? But that whole hour of prospecting is what he said. And this week, I even told Kenzie, I came in and I'm like, I'm done. I'm committing to my 1 hour a day. And it's crazy to see what has happened in my schedule just from that 1 hour a day, right? The conversations that I'm having. And it's been fun for me because it's not me following up, having the same old conversation. Oh, are we actually going to move forward? And then I'm, hoping for something. I'm actually having new live conversations, and it's making it fun for me again. And it's making the side of things happen. So I just want to encourage this. But one of the things that I want to talk to today specifically is time blocking your schedule. Okay? And why I want to bring this up is I had an agent who is possibly looking at coming to the company. He is coming to the company. I'm going to manifest that, right? He's going to come to the company. But one of the things that we were talking about is his schedule. He does 36 deals a year, and he wants to do 50. And he said, Linz, what do you think it is that doesn't allow me to do that? And I would tell you it's because of his schedule, right? And one of the things that we recognized is he wasn't protecting his schedule. From anywhere from the lingo that he was using, right? When he's talking with clients, the expectations that he's setting. I mean, we can get into all of the detail of that, but it really just making sure that he's protecting his schedule. So in Everest, what would we say are the 3 things that we need to make sure that we're doing on a daily basis? Who has heard of the 3 PP? Okay. The 3 PPs. Prospecting. Practice.
Nobody heard my joke.
And presentation.
I said appointments without the A.
Appointments without the A.
That's awesome.
But presentations are appointments, right? So if we look at it from a standpoint of practice, prospect, and presentations, those are our jobs every single day. And when we're not doing those things, you guys, you're not doing your job. Okay? When you don't have a presentation, you're not doing your job. When you're not prospecting to have a presentation, you're not doing your job. So, and oftentimes, and I loved what he referred to it a little bit differently in the book, but I loved what he said is, there's the different aspects. Do you have your list ready? Do you make sure that you prepare for the day? So one of the things that I want to bring in is what we call time blocking. And I want to talk about this, let me turn on the screen. Because I think the biggest challenge with real estate agents is we have the tendency that we don't actually set up a schedule for ourselves. Okay? And we leave what I love that the one statement that I still will own by Grant Cardone is he says that leaving white space in your calendar is like saying hello to the devil. Okay? Now I think his story is interesting. Obviously he was a drug addict, for those of you who don't know, and an alcoholic, and that was his way of staying disciplined. Right? And so he eventually just said, if I had white space in my schedule, it was like saying hello to the devil. But how true is that to our business? It is like saying hello to the devil, because you're allowing the God minutes, you're allowing the disruptions, you're allowing I often call it the water well drinking, right? Like making sure that you're in the kitchen talking to each other, that kind of thing. Okay? So I want to kind of take you through what I have as time blocking, and it's really been helpful. And this agent said to me, he goes, Lindsey, you literally changed my life. He's like, you literally, helped he's engaged, and he said, you literally saved my engagement, things like that. And I said, don't give me too much credit, but I want you guys to have an idea that there really can be this balance that we talk about at Everest, right? There really can be this, and look, the reality is there's going to be times where you can't follow it all the time. Okay, but there's times where if we just say, like we often have heard, 70% of the time, if we protect our schedule, we're that much more successful in every aspect of our life. We're that much more fulfilled too, right? I often love what Tony Robbins will say is he says the art of fulfillment versus the art of success. And we can have the art of success, you guys, but if we don't have the art of fulfillment, you're not going to be happy. Okay, and that's where those 3 pillars come in: your relationships, your finances, and your health, right? Everybody good? We're following?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things that I want to bring up, so I use Google Calendar, and for all my coaching clients, this has really worked well, especially for those of you who want to build a team. So as I was meeting with this agent yesterday, he's obviously looking to add an assistant, and he wants to add a buyer's agent, right? The great thing about this is you actually can have access to your schedule, and that you're actually being able to share it with individuals, but not having to share all of them, okay? So don't mind my language or my calendar, okay? But these are my calendars. So I often will refer to, so Google Calendar is great for that because you can have multiple calendars. Okay, so I have the Century 21 calendar. So I have like things like Base Camp, right? My broker meetings, the broker open house, things like that are going to be things that are a little bit more of a negotiable for me. It's things that I would like to be to, but they're negotiable, so they're in blue, okay? They're something that I'm actually able to use and be able to, if I have to, move around or have Ken's or somebody else attend it for me, okay? But morning Ascent role play, okay? There's my practice. It's right after morning meeting for me. If I'm not role playing with somebody, I'm chanting. You guys do not make an excuse to not be practicing, okay? Even if you're not at the role play session, you should be doing something. My personal schedule is in pink, right? So for those of you who don't know, I am at the gym at 4:30 in the morning. That's a non-negotiable item for me, okay? You're not going to get it in if it's not scheduled, you guys. Right, Miss April? Okay, so, and then obviously the reds are my non-negotiable. They're things that I'm going to do that are non-negotiable. And I actually have here, this is a non-negotiable for me because they're saying now 85% of your business will be done in your lead follow-up. Okay, so yes, it's important that we do lead follow-up, but guess what, you guys? We don't have lead follow-up if we're not actually doing fresh prospecting. Okay, so making sure that you actually have lead follow-up in your schedule. And then I have in yellow for you guys, it's the same thing. But I have my appointment slots. Okay, and this is what's key. You have to set your schedule up, you guys. You have to set yourself the schedule up, because then what happens is I come in, and if I don't have prospecting in my schedule, or if I don't have my appointment slots, then what ends up happening? Just like today, I have a buyer who wants to see my listing. He wants me to negotiate my schedule. I said, no, this is the time I have. If you want to be there, I'll be there. Right? You have to be, I mean, I was a little bit more nice about it, but it allows for you to have that boundary with people. Okay, and not only that, it allows for you to have your own boundaries in your own life. Right? So, and then obviously, with that, so the green for me is my money-making things. I am very expressive, for those of you who don't know me. Yes, I do have a driver underliner, because most of you will say that I'm a driver too. But this is trained in me, right? And this took me years to understand. But if we don't time block our schedule, we allow for the distractions, right? Or you allow for, oh yeah, I have this available, or I have this available, or I have that available. And then next thing you know, your buyer's taking control of your schedule, your sellers are taking control of your schedule, and you're not running a schedule and you're not having that flexibility and that freedom that you got into this business to have. Fair?
Yes.
Thoughts? Questions?
Well, Linz, one of the
Yeah.
things that really occurs to me in doing this is that the more structure you have, the more freedom you have, because you actually get things done.
Right.
You clear your plate when you stick to it.
Such a true statement, Rick. In fact, one of my favorite statements that I often will say to agents, especially new licensees who are coming into the business, right, is they often will say, well, I want the freedom and I want the flexibility. And heck, even experienced agents say that to me. I had one of them say it to me yesterday. And the reality is freedom equals discipline. The more discipline you have, the more freedom you're actually going to have from all aspects of life. Okay, like the more discipline I have in my gym schedule, what does that give me freedom-wise? My health, my ability to move, my energy, the things that I need to get through the day, right? To be able to be who I need to be for other people. Look, if you're not taking care of this person, you're not taking care of other people. Ms. Brenda.
I think with all of this, it
Yeah.
brings me back to working with buyers. They seem to take more of my time and can roll around from this to that to the other. I found myself in the past trying to tell them, well, I can't do that time because I have this. They don't care what else you have going on. So now I found, hey, and I try to future pace them when I first start working with them. Hey, what's your schedule like? Okay, what time do you have available?
Yep.
Okay, well, this is what my schedule will allow. And you kind of work through that, but you don't let them run your schedule, because that's why we're real estate agents. We have freedom.
Right.
And I love that fact. You need to schedule it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to block out Tuesday and Thursday between 6 and 8, and we're going to look. Now in this market, you of course have to jump, but I think this is ideal. And again, don't tell your buyers or your sellers, well, I can't do that because I have this. It's like, this is when I'm available.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
we're the professionals. You don't tell a doctor when you're going to come in and see him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to remember this is, and that they will appreciate that.
Thank you.
And if they want to run you, maybe they're not your client.
Right. Absolutely. Matt.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that a lot of times I'll hear people saying like, hey, you know, they're gonna work super late on some days, like till 8 p.m. or they work on, you know, they wanna start working on Saturdays. And this is actually the first step before you start expanding your hours. Like,
Right.
utilize this time a little bit better. The example I always use, if my wife says to me, hey, I'm gonna go shopping and I need to spend $2,000. You know, I'm gonna be like, ugh, you know, it's gonna hurt my heart. Like, you don't need to spend $2,000. But if she says, hey, I have to go shopping. I'm gonna focus on the things I need, and then I'm gonna maybe get some things that I want, and I'm not gonna spend more than $2,000. And the same thing with your schedule. It's like, hey, I'm not gonna work past 6 o'clock. I'm gonna focus on things I need to do, and then I may be able to get to these things. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna work past 6.
Absolutely.
And you hone that schedule, then consider expanding to maybe a Saturday a month or 2 Saturdays a month if you need to. But the point is, most people don't have this mastered, and they're just throwing time or money at the solution to get the solution they want, or to
Right.
get the result they want, but that's not the solution.
Right. 100%. When my coach broke down for me how much time and money I was actually giving away, by not protecting my schedule, it made things so different for me, right? So one of the things that's fun about this is now when I have this, and this is something that I do with my team, is I have them go in and I actually have them track what time wasters they allowed during those times, right? And then what you can do is you can break down your commission to see how much you make on an hourly basis, and you won't negotiate it anymore. I promise you that. Why?
I'm curious to know what whose life will I, what it is that you do at 7 a.m.
That's a statement that I say to myself every morning at 7 a.m.
Okay.
Whose life will I impact today?
From George, right? That George's thing.
I think he has something similar, but
I also think if you have a time block that you need to do other things, time block that. Like honestly, like your schedule's so strict, but also if you time block, like let's say half hour or 45 minutes for things that you need to do, like people always write down a to-do list or things like that. If you time block it, say, okay, well, I'll call you back on this time. I'll call you back at this time. Hey, I need to talk to you about this. And you can text them back, I can call you between 2 and 3.
Perfect.
Like you can have that time block, like when you have appointments and you have all these things, and besides lunch, honestly, if you have all the Godamedans or you have these phone calls that you need to return, you can tell them I can get back to you unless it's absolutely urgent. I can get back to you between this time. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And it
And
works
you
for me.
hear
It works
you
for me.
hear a lot of the big hitters in the industry, right? You'll hear that on their voicemail.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you between this time and this time. I'm prospecting
Yeah.
for new business, right? You've heard it. So, so great points. And this is exactly where I want to go with this, you guys, because I wanted to give you an idea of how you can time block your schedule and what it can look like. Because here's the reality of it. If I have these in my schedule, what likelihood am I able to stick to my schedule? If things are already there, then I'm more likely to stick to it, okay? So, and then there's certain lingos that we can use. And I mean, Brenda and Matt, you referred to it, is oftentimes, like if I have a client and I say, oh, you know, they want to meet with us, we can say, great. So why, what works better for you? Mornings or afternoons? And now I can look at my schedule and I can see, okay, Matt, I have 1 o'clock on Tuesday, or I have 1:30 on Thursday. What works better for you? It is like that doctor. When you go into a professional business, they're not going, oh, what works best for you? No, the doctor's not asking you that. The statement is always, and this is what I learned from John Syatt years ago, what works better for you, mornings or afternoons, right? And then now I have the ability to give them my time slots. Here's the thing, when I've learned through coaching, your clients want options. They're not asking to run your schedule. They want options. So you give them an option of what works better for you, mornings or afternoons. You already have them. And then you say, great, I have this time on this day or this time on this day. Guess what? More options. They get to choose. They don't feel like you're pushing them off. They don't feel like you're, right, not doing what is best for them. And that it gives them that feeling of that you're still taking care of them.
It's just so crazy how we just make up this story in our mind that they are going to get upset with us or not want to do business with us because we are only giving those two options. It's like, this is not an issue at all. It's
Yeah.
just you're allowing it to be an issue.
That should
It's-
respect you for being busy.
Yeah.
So it's so funny you say that, Matt, because I had a conversation with somebody who was in the title industry yesterday, and she's like, Linz, can you help me figure out how to maintain my schedule and my team? Oftentimes what we'll do is we'll just jump to whatever the lender wants or whatever the client wants and whenever we can, right? And she's like, but then I'm all over the place, and I've even trained my team to do that for me. And I said, you have to set the expectations. But if you give your clients options, you guys, they won't let you negotiate yourself.
I guess with all of this, and I do have a schedule, when I leave here, I'm in my office prospecting. So if I have a buyer that's like, well, I go to work at 1 o'clock, so I have to look at homes at 10, it kind of freaks me out. I'm like, homes at 10? I can't be out of my office. I'm prospecting. So I think even though you have a schedule, you have to be a little flexible.
Okay.
Because that's the only time they can go is between 10 and 12. And I'm like, oh, crap.
So you bring up the next point that I want to talk to, and you're dead on, right? And this is where we say, you guys, 75% of the time. But then I have that buyer who can only come in and is only in the morning because they're an out-of-state buyer. Or let's just say, right, there's a specific circumstance that only allows them to go at that time. What are the best times to prospect, statistically?
Morning, first thing.
Okay, first thing in the morning. Obviously, I am a firm believer in that way, because
Yeah.
eat your biggest nut first. But what are your time frames?
9 to
Miss
12.
Lila.
9 to 11. 9 to 11.
8 to 10 and 4
Okay.
I don't know.
4 to 6, yeah.
There you go. 8 to 10 and 4 to 6. Those are your best times to prospect, statistically proven, you guys. When you're actually going to get ahead of people. Look, the reality of this business, it is a numbers game. Okay? It's a numbers game. And I would even say probably 8 to 11, right? But it is a numbers game. And so the reality is if you want to get your efficiencies up, practice during the time, or prospect during the times that are going to be more efficient for you. So you bring up a great point. So Brenda, this is my solution to this, right? And this is why I teach time blocking. Because for me, the green is something that's never negotiable. The red is something that's never negotiable in my schedule. It's always staying in my schedule, even if, like, for an example, it doesn't happen this day, but I see there's an area here that I can maybe move it to, I will, but it's not leaving my schedule that week. Okay, and one of those things that I will say is, okay, so from 9 to 11, if I have that one client that can't work with me, and this is why I love Google Calendar, you guys, is because it allows for you to do this. If it'll let me, maybe not. Okay, well that's lame.
No, well, I think it was just a.
Okay, so it allows for me to do this, right? But what I will tell, and what I often told my coaching clients is I said, look, don't just move it down an hour. If you have to show somebody an out of state or that somebody's there, move that hour down to your thing. And then that day, you no longer can negotiate the afternoon, right? So then when I'm giving that client that option again, I'm saying, So let's say for an example, I covered that morning already and I had to move that down to the afternoon. That afternoon is no longer an option, right? And then I can have the ability to run the schedule
Well,
still.
that's exactly what happens. I'll go take them and then I'll come right back to my office and prospect till sometimes 7.
Yeah, I love it.
And I think it's, you have to be honest with yourself if like how disciplined you're going to be in the afternoons. I mean, the morning is so much
Sure.
easier, you know. And so there's a couple things. I mean, first, if you feel like you're not going to do it, then maybe that isn't a negotiable item for you, even no matter who the client is. Or 2, you just come up with a system for when somebody does need assistance in the morning. You have a system for that.
Right.
You know, I have my assistant go out and show the property, or I have another agent who is willing to work mornings that goes and shows that property.
Right.
Or whatever.
Absolutely, you have to be honest with yourself. Am I actually going to do it in the afternoon, right?
Right.
In fact, there was one time I had a coaching client. She's like, well, if I have to negotiate with that, what do I do? And I said, okay, if you know that you would come back right after lunch and you're going to prospect, then that's when you're going to prospect. So put that as your time block. Move it to that time frame, right? But the idea of this is that if you do have that client, look, protect this as much as you can. Because like you said, why the best time to prospect is in the morning. Why? Because you're usually not going to have clients that are first thing in the morning, right? And so for the most part, again, if we can protect that 70% of the time, we're that much better. But Matt is 100% right. Do it when you know you're going to do it. But statistically proven, it is that early morning and late afternoon that you're going to get more numbers. Okay? More contacts, more. Yes, Miss April.
Judy got me to buy a journal. It's called Best Self. Has anybody heard of it? It's a really good journal. But anyway, it's got one of the things you're supposed to do in the journal daily is you're supposed to rewrite your schedule. And the concept, which honestly I have not mastered yet, I'm having a hard time really doing the whole thing. But it's so cool because you rewrite your whole schedule and you're supposed to fill every single moment of your day. And what they say is, we know it seems really overwhelming at first, we know this is hard, but you even schedule, like if you have a hard time giving up social media or blah, 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 whatever it could be, you can schedule that time. But the whole purpose is when you have a schedule, okay, then you get to that and then you know when you have to get off. But it just really helps, and it just says you're going to be so much more efficient if you're really scheduling every single day. I know it's exactly what you said, but
Yeah. No.
just-
I love it. Because I think you're bringing up some great points, right? April is, social media. We all do it. And a lot of it is obviously a distraction, but when do we often do it? I loved the statement in the book. He talked about how often we'll allow the little distractions, and he even talked about like how we as salespeople think that we can multitask. But if you just truly stay focused for that 1 hour with your true intent on your clients and actually move forward, you'll actually set more appointments because you're actually focusing on them, right? But he did talk to that. He spoke to, are you scheduling out your emails? Are you actually making it? Will you pull up the screen on the TV because I want to actually go through this for an ideal schedule. But he talked to that. He said, schedule those things that you're going to do. If that's an important thing for you, then that's something that you've got to do. You turn that off.
That's tricky.
That you got to make sure that you're doing it. Okay, so if you were to look at just like the standard of what we often will talk to here at Everest is, and that brings up a great point, is you have to make sure you're scheduling your admin time, right? Your admin time, your social media time, whatever you want to call it. So if we were to look at it for all of us, right, you have the 7 to 8 role-playing group, so you've got your practice. Then you've got 8 to 8:45, you got mindset, skill set, in my opinion. Getting your mindset right, skill set in place is what this meeting is for me anyways. Right? Then 9 to 11 would be prospecting. So you have 15 minutes. Get that list ready. Get on the phones. Okay? 15 minutes to get down there. Then 11 to 12 is where you're allowing your admin. It was so funny to me because I've heard it for years and years of how he said the biggest distraction for a salesperson is to respond to their emails first thing in the morning. He said, it is your biggest distraction. Guess what? I caught myself doing it this morning. I got an offer on my cousin's house last night, and I'm just like, this guy is out of his mind. Like, right? But then it distracted my whole workout. It distracted everything because I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, no, you're an idiot. Anyways, and then 12, right, is your lunch hour. Okay? I loved, for years, if you're not taking care of yourself, you guys, you're not going to be who you need to be for your clients. Take time to decompress. If you can't actually prospect for those 3 hours straight, take a 15-minute break. Be careful where you're taking it, okay? But take a 15-minute break, because I think that's the things that we'll say. And then one of the things that George and John will often talk to is you have the 1 o'clock, the 3 o'clock, and the 5 o'clock as appointment slots. But put those in your schedules, okay? So I often will refer to it as your appointment, or as George will say, working on a system. This is the time you should be working on your systems, right? Your CRM, your database, your drip campaigns, things like that. I love it. One of my mentors always said, if you don't have something to put into a system, why are you actually working on one?
Yeah.
If you don't have prospecting, talk to people, have conversations, whatever you guys want to say so it doesn't sound intimidating to you, right? Then you're not going to have something to put into a system. You're not going to have a CRM. I loved it yesterday. I was working with an agent from, actually she just came over from Coldwell Banker, and one of the things she said to me, she goes, Lindsey, nobody's made it that simple for me. So she had an SOI of 200 people. I said, you have to call 3 people a day. Tim, you and I had this conversation. I said, you have to call 3 people a day. What else are you doing the rest of the day? And she's like, what do you mean? I broke down her SOI, showed her that if she's touching it on a quarterly basis, she only has to call 3 people a day. She was wasting the rest of her day, right? Okay, and then twice a week, allow for that 7 p.m. That 7 o'clock appointment. Okay, but again, you guys, this is an ideal schedule. This is something that for somebody who's maybe doing it full time, this is an ideal thing. However, it's not always going to be the key thing, right? So sit down with a Ruby and a Rick and go, okay, what can I do to make sure that I do it? There's one client that I had to make sure, because so I had a client, she was a single mom, who did real estate in Las Vegas. She worked the tables at night, right, to make sure that ends were meet. She was getting into the business. And so, able to make that transition, her and I had to really work a schedule that worked for her. So what we did is on Saturday, she would front load her week. So her whole day on Saturday was prospecting, right? So then the rest of the week, when she got off her shift in the morning, she was able to actually go home, get some rest, and then go on her appointments in the evening. So if you need help with this, come sit with myself, Ruby, Rick. We are more than happy to help you through this, okay? Because it's not going to be the same for every agent, and we know that, and that's what we, through your business plan and your schedule, here we want to make sure that you're actually running it efficient for you, because it's not going to always be the case that this is ideal. Good? Mm-hmm. I know I gave a lot of information, you guys, but I really do think it's key.
I love what you said. Call it prospecting, call it whatever you want, and it's all about your mind. Yeah. So on my prospecting, I'm old school, I have paper. I don't do anything on my phone, because if it's not in my face and I can touch it,
in the same way,
it's not real. And on the top of my SOI list, and I've shared it with several of you, it says person that needs my help. Yeah. They're not just a person, they're a person that needs my help, and I strongly believe that. So when I call my SOI, I'm not bothering them, I'm helping them. Yeah. So keep that.
It's so key.
So true.
It's so key. And you guys, you can get so into this too, where for an example, Mackenzie and I have worked on it, but certain days you're hitting different lists, right? I had one client who would only focus on her SOI, and so I had to get her to focus on her other list. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays were her just listed, just solds. Wednesdays were for sell by owners, just getting her in that habit to making sure she was calling multiple lists. I also love the statement that Jed said. He said, if you're calling one source, you're asking for suicide in your business. If you only are calling one source, you're asking for suicide, meaning you'll never get past that peak of where you want to be if you're only calling one source of business, right? So, and then also just think into consideration is, for that 9 to 10, make it new business. See what it would do for you. Do it, commit to it for 30 days and just see what it would do for you in your business to see that new pipeline and not just what you've been doing on a day-to-day basis, okay? I know it's a lot to take in, but you guys take the weekend. Take the weekend if you don't have this set up. I love it. When Tim and I first started doing it, I just said, send it to me on Sunday. If you only can do it for a week at a time because of life situations or things going on at home, set it up so that you're only doing it a week at a time. Okay? Oh, yeah. But if you don't set it up, I promise you, you won't be as productive as you can during the week.
Actually, we do that a lot when we coach with a lot of the agents. I'm like, just Sunday, I know that things come up. You have appointments, you have family, you have things that come up. Actually, even time block that. Time block that first and be the most efficient you can around it. Because we do have parents in the room, we do have people that have kids that have to go at certain times. So we coach, and I'm just like, you know what? On Sunday, I want you to write out your entire week, and I want to see it on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm like, show it to me so I can hold
Well,
it.
and a lot of us don't know what's going on in
Yeah.
our personal life till that Sunday, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on the next week. And the reality is in our business, you guys, if you do not schedule it, it will not happen
Yeah,
in your personal
absolutely.
life. Right? So just make sure that you're taking the time. And really, like the statement that my coach said to me years ago, when you justify this, you're justifying yourself. You're justifying your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, because you won't have that balance. Right? You won't have that long-term success. John?
As a comment, I don't know that I should share it. So.
Okay.
No, well,
Come on.
I was told that justification is like masturbation. You holy screw it.
Next time he says that, we know not to push him.
We're
Okay,
sorry.
Miss Ruby, you had a quick second, and then we'll get going, guys.
Yeah. So, we've been working on this since December.
I'm surprised you came out of your mouth, Joan.
Yeah, I know, right? We gotta be careful with that. So I just wanted to make a quick announcement. We've been working on this with some agents and everybody here at the Everest team. Rick has been gone since almost after Thanksgiving. And we've been working on this since December. We all wanted to show our gratitude. You've been missed a lot throughout December. And we didn't know if you were going to be back consistently, so we're doing this now, just because it's well settled and it's here. Matt brought up the idea of the gift, but all the agents they've all participated, and a lot of the team, a lot of the staff, all the leadership has gotten together, and we have some cards for you, and we have a gift for you. We just wanted to share our gratitude, and your presence makes such a big difference, and your guidance, and we love you, and so we wanted to give this to you. So can you come up?
Do I have to?
Yeah. I know you don't sound very much,
No,
but we're extremely grateful that you're a part of the team and you show us you've honestly brought it.
You guys
to
shouldn't
me,
have.
too.
That's amazing. Thank you, John.
yeah.
Wow.
So real quick, this is just from everyone here, and these are cards. Now they're nice cards. They're
You
Christmas.
guys, I don't know why you did this. I don't like this kind of stuff.
That's why this is fun right here.
Thank you. This
We
is
didn't know when you
amazing.
were going to be back, so we thought we'd let it settle in.
Wow.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year,
Thank you.
and Happy birthday, and we miss you.
You guys are amazing.
On
Merry
with you.
Christmas, birthday. Thank you. Wow. You guys are amazing. Thank you. I don't even know what to say. I don't like being on the spot. Thank you.
You went Hot Wheels, right?
You what?
You went Hot Wheels? Is that what you asked for?
Oh yeah. There you go. Hot Wheels all the way.
Okay, you do have to open that, because
He's
there's something else in there. There you go.
Holy cow.
First of all, you have to read that.
Certificate of Achievement presented by Rick Bentley for being scary good. Presented to, yeah. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Wow. Nice. I don't even know what to say, you guys. I mean, this is like a family to me. It's my reason. People know my why is you. I've shared that a few times. What gets me up is you. What makes me tick is you. So being gone was one of the hardest things I could ever do. Ruby leading out and taking control of things, thank you. And just the support of everybody. It's amazing, so thanks for being there for me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, let's see those things.
Well, we love you and you inspire us.
Oh my gosh. You guys are amazing. Oops.
Those are. You want to explain what they are?
Wow.
Say something.
Thank you so much. I don't know
You're
what to say. I wouldn't have came today if this was what you're gonna
That's what we didn't tell you.
do. Thank you so much.
You want yours?
All right, team.
All right.
Let's get you dedicated and disciplined to your daily schedules. If you haven't got it in place, come sit down with one of us. Let's make it sure it works for you.
Let's get loud.
Let's get loud.
Let's get loud.
I succeed because I act to my goals. I am an optimist. I like talking to new people. I know it was important to me. I remember people's names. I'm a daily plan I follow it. I talk about real estate. I know the things my parents told. I got the heart to listening. I enjoy reading through my philosophy. My thoughts and my emotions, actions and results. I focus on my thinking daily. I read tenacious problems and equations. I improve my skills daily. I am happy. I love the prospect of the speed of my business. I see my future is awesome. I love my life. I am grateful, thankful. I control my thinking. I believe in me. I feel outstanding. I use my thinking optimistically daily. I get things done. I provide excellent customer service. I drink water daily. I connect with people. People love me. I love others. I'm just with out of my daily schedule. I run my day. I set appointments daily. I'm a master trader. I achieve my goals. I'm a real estate rock star. I have passion about my life. I live in a purpose. I'm confident about myself. I know what I'm saying. I'm healthy and strong. I'm powerful. I'm stressful. I be positive.
Good morning. Good morning. Morning. Good 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 wall. Good morning, Matt. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Miami. Brazil. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. All right.